Hey everybody, Ben Murphy here with the Deuce Kirk team at Keller Williams Commonwealth. Today we're going to talk about a small town just outside of Lexington called Winchester, Kentucky. Wanted to make sure we talk about all the communities that surround Lexington. So today I want to give you the pros and cons of living in Winchester. All right, so first, right out of the gate, probably the first thing that we noticed about it, Winchester, when we moved here, it is a small town. It is a small community, especially for the fact that we've lived in Lexington for so many years now. We both went to University of Kentucky, and so we're just used to 300,000 people just constantly around us, constantly running into someone new, constantly meeting new people. And so right now, that's one of the biggest pros for us is the fact that we're in a small community. It's quiet. I mean, that was the first thing we noticed when we got out here. It is just super, super quiet. It's, you don't have the constant sirens, cars, stuff going off. You're immersed in this country area, and we're in love with it already. And so we're already meeting people, and it's definitely that kind of small town community feel that everyone kind of knows everybody. So if that's something that you find important, Winchester's got that in a nutshell. Hey everybody, before we continue, do me a quick favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. If you're trying to research and learn more about Winchester, Kentucky or Lexington itself, you're definitely going to hit that subscribe button so that way you keep in touch of everything that's going on as we continue to share videos with everybody. Probably easily the second pro for me and my wife, we both still technically work in Lexington, and Winchester, check out the map, it's right next to the highway, and it's literally a 20-minute drive to get to Lexington. It barely takes any time to get out there. My wife, she works at the University of Kentucky, which is in the heart of Lexington. It takes her half an hour to get there. Now, that's amazing. So the fact that we are so close to Lexington, we still get to can technically enjoy all the fun things that Lexington has to offer, like UK athletics or entertainment at Rupp. We could still enjoy it, and it's not a major haul for us to go do that stuff. So if you do decide to live here in Winchester, you will have that opportunity to do and experience the same things Lexington has, but can still escape and be in this quiet part of the state. Now, part of being a part of the small town feel outside of Lexington, it's that pro number three is we're surrounded by beautiful countryside. Now, beautiful country here in Lexington, but outside of it, once you get further and further out, you start to get into the countryside that some people try to look for when they move to states like Kentucky or Tennessee, where we got beautiful farmlands, beautiful areas all the way around. And so moving to Winchester, you'll see that. And it doesn't take us 2 seconds to go find it. So when you do move to Winchester, you decide to live in a town like Winchester, you're going to be surrounded by beautiful countryside, and it is very peaceful and relaxing to kind of just immerse yourself here. When moving to an area, I know for parents, it's very, very important that they find a strong, solid education system. And for the past few years, Clark High School, Rogers Clark High School has actually been ranked very, very high here in the state of Kentucky. It's been top 50 the last few years, and that's very, very strong. But it's also been ranked number 7 compared to all the Lexington metro area schools. So when they rank all the schools, they kind of include all the surrounding high schools. Rogers Clark's top 7. So, I mean, that's huge. And there's a lot of high schools here in this area. And so you're going to find a decent education for your child, which is great. I know that's important. And so looking at Winchester, again, it's just a kind of another pro when you're, doing some of your research. Final pro of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is easy one. It's cost of living. Cost of living here in Winchester is going to be very, very low compared to the national average and actually compared to Lexington. You will take that step down when it comes to costs on groceries, costs on gas, costs on your home. Our home, if it was located in Lexington, would probably be $30,000 more just because. So just know that when you're doing your research of trying to find that home, trying to find that different, kind of price range, your money goes a little further the farther outside of Fayette County that you get. So that's definitely a big pro. When we moved out here, we noticed that it's caught my wife a couple times off guard where she got gas in Lexington, came out to Winchester, and it was like 15-20 cents cheaper. So just know that it's a huge pro when you're looking at this town. First con right out of the gate, it's something that I touch on in my other videos when I'm talking about, pros and cons. It's the weather. Weather in the winter months can be pretty rough, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to winter. So just know that December's not too bad. December, you're definitely on the downhill slope when it comes to cold. We rarely don't get into the teens unless it's in the middle of the night. That's about the only time it really gets that cold. Now, January and February, that's going to be your worst months. January is very, very cold. We don't necessarily get snow. We get this icy slush that just, makes all your cars dirty, and it's just tough keeping anything clean outside and trying to do anything outside. We do get some snowfall, but it's 2 inches a year on average. So you can't really bank on us getting those huge thick snows that maybe our friends up north are used to getting to. I will say once every like 3 or 4 years, we do get hit with a pretty bad ice storm. And now that you're kind of like looking at Winchester, which is outside the city, not necessarily sure how roads get paved, how quickly they get paved. I'll give you a heads up after we experience our first winter here. I'm just kind of banking on it. Maybe not so much, but there's not as many roads out here either. So it could be a little bit quicker, a little bit faster than you would get in Lexington. So just something to think about. Now in summer, it does get hot, does get humid. That's something you're just going to have to deal with when living in Lexington, Kentucky, or just in the central Kentucky area. So just know that it does get hot. It's like walking outside in a sauna, but that's about it. You got 4 months out of the year that it's either extremely hot, super humid, or extremely cold, and it's just nasty outside. But the rest of the year is relatively peaceful, and it is beautiful outside. Something that I am learning a little bit more about Winchester, if I was a young professional, just trying to find something to do entertainment-wise. If you're not really into country stuff, you're not doing outdoorsy stuff, you're going to have a little bit of a hard time finding things to do. So entertainment-wise, if you got to do anything, you're probably going to have to go to Lexington to find it. There's minimal shopping stores around here. There is a movie theater. My wife and I mean, it's becoming a date night for us. It's a nice little movie theater. Still shows new things, but it's probably where the entertainment kind of like falls off after that point. There is a beautiful park, Legacy Grove Park. When it's nice outside, you can definitely go do something. You can take your dogs, go and enjoy the dog park. But like I said, if you're looking for big city entertainment, you're probably going to have to travel to Lexington. Luckily, we don't live too far from Lexington, so it's not that big of a hurdle to address or overcome, but it is something that you will have to drive to solve if you trying to figure that out. The third con was actually a pro in my, a little bit earlier. It's a small town. That could be a con for some people. It could be the fact that, there's only 20,000 people that live here. That may be way, way too small for you. And that's something that you need to kind of figure out. Like, what am I looking for when I'm trying to move and put my family somewhere? Am I looking for a big city with a lot of people, a lot of things to do, just tons of, people in a very, very small area? Or do I want to live somewhere it's a little bit more open, a little bit more spread out, but we know people, we know our neighbors, we know who lives down the street, and that's just kind of the major difference between Winchester and Lexington. And so that kind of plays back into the entertainment factor. There's not as much stuff to do here in Winchester as there is in Lexington. So just something to consider and think about when you're thinking about where you're relocating. I kind of touched base on this with weather. This con, ladies and gentlemen, is about allergies. Allergy season can be very, very rough here in the state of Kentucky. If you've not watched any of my other videos where I do talk about this, it is very, very rough during certain months, especially if you're not used to it. This Midwest kind of allergy season, if you're moving from out west or up north, it's going to hit you hard. So I always try to tell my clients who are moving from out of state, be ready. If you're not from here, you don't understand it, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks that first time. So be ready to stock up on some medicine, stock up on some hot tea to clear out your senses, and I think you'll be okay. But it's something that you definitely have to address every single year. So this final thing that I'm going to talk about, it's not necessarily con when it comes to Winchester itself, but it is something that keeps continuously coming up in my videos when I talk about different areas surrounding Lexington. It talks about crime. So when you go and do your research, you're going to go to different websites, and sometimes they'll give a grade rating. And every single one that I've looked at so far that talks about not just Winchester, but Paris, Nicholasville, Georgetown, doesn't matter. There's no city that's got like an A rating, a great rating when it comes to crime. Everything is either C or D or F. And so one thing I wanted to address with you all is if you do that research and you see, Winchester's got a D on some random website or an F on another website, part of my job as a realtor is to locate hot zones, bad zones, good zones, where are people living, what neighborhood's the good neighborhood, and I help direct you to that. Now, I mean, I live in Winchester. I understand that there are good areas and there are bad areas. So when you are watching this and you start going to do your research, maybe Winchester might be the place for me and my family, and that comes across. Don't freak out, because if you do that with every single city, you're not going to want to move to any city because you're just going to think crime's everywhere based off of something a website says. Now, reach out to me. We'll set up a consultation and we'll cover which areas are good, which areas are maybe necessarily not that good. And I'll make sure that you move to a safe location that you will be happy to move home to and call home. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. That wraps up today's video. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about Winchester, Kentucky. I'll be honest, I've loved living here so far. My wife and I have really enjoyed being here in the area. It's definitely quiet, it's calm, it's definitely closer to that country, small town feel, which is something that we do appreciate while we do live here. And I hope you got to learn a little bit more about this town. If you're interested at all learning more about Winchester, leave me a comment, shoot me an email, and we'll do everything that we can to help you find a nice home here in this great little area. And if you need help finding a home outside of Lexington, in Georgetown, Paris, it doesn't matter. Leave us a comment, shoot me an email. We'll definitely set up a buyer's consultation for you, and we'll do everything that we can to help you out. If you need help selling your home, as always, we do that as well. Deuce Kirk, listing guru here in the Lexington area, knows what he's doing. We'll help sell your home and make the process smooth and painless. Ben Murphy here with the Deuce Kirk team, Keller Williams Commonwealth. Thanks for watching, everybody.